Ahora invito al podio al doctor Rudrajit Mitra, profesor senior y director de la Escuela de Pregrado de Ingeniería Minera de la Universidad de Nueva Gales del Sur, Australia, para iniciar su respectiva ponencia. Adelante, doctor Mitra.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to talk about mining engineering collaboration, but before that, I'd like to thank PERUMIN for giving me the opportunity to come here, my first time in this beautiful part of the world. And also I'd like to thank Antonio, I think he's around here, for inviting me, and also Cynthia for making sure I'm here on, everything goes well. So thank you, both of you. So I'll talk about collaboration, education collaboration that we have done, and I'll focus on the Society of Mining Professors. So this is what I'll be talking on, the UNSW, the university, the faculty, the school from which I belong to, and then move on to the society. So a bit about the university. We have there's 10 faculties in there. Oh, sorry, before that, come from Sydney. It's called Down Under. I had a 30-hour journey to come down to this part of the world, so it's a long way. But it's a beautiful part of the world. There's lovely beaches. Now, that's not all our students down there. That's it's a very touristic beach. That's Bondi Beach, and down there, Coogee. So these are very close to the university, and that makes it very popular for international students. And there are a lot of students from South America, and in mining, I know there's 3 to 4 students from Peru, and we have 2 students who are doing their postgraduate degree. So, and also I'd like to apologize. Some of the slides, I did a presentation this morning on industry collaboration. So some of the slides are a bit repeating, so I do apologize to the people who are listening to me second time. So there's 10 faculties in this university. The only additional one, which not many universities have, is the Defence Force right at the bottom, as you can see. And then the Faculty of Engineering has 9 schools, ranging from biomedical, civil and environment, mining, petroleum, and so on. So a bit about the school before I move on to the collaboration and the work we do with the Society of Mining Professors. We are one of the 4 founding members of the university. In fact, we are a year older than the university, so we feel proud about that. We are, since 2007, we are part of a joint collaboration called Mining Education Australia, which is a collaboration across 4 universities across Australia. University of New South Wales, University of Queensland, Western Australian School of Mines, and University of Adelaide. And it's a world first, and again, we are proud to be part of it. And my previous head of school, Professor Bruce Hebblewhite, was the first person who made a few things, and I'll talk about that in regards to SOMP. Also, we have a large student enrollment, and I'll talk about that in the next slide. We have 18 academic staff, and that's a lot of people in the school. And we have very good infrastructure for teaching and research. And that makes it the largest mining school, and again, proud to be a part of that, largest mining school in English-speaking world. We looked into numbers, and that's what we are. So what we do, similar to other universities, education, both undergraduate and postgraduate, international education and collaboration. We have my colleagues who travel to Canada and to other parts of the world teaching, and I'll talk about, some of the points that I'm mentioning here, I'll refer back to when I put my slides up for SOMP. So there's a reason why I'm putting it up here. Professional development and training. We do a lot of relationship, and Sandvik is one of our biggest group that we do continuous training, and Howden and a few other companies. We do research. That's all universities count at the end of the day, how much money we bring into the university, how many publications we make. And also, these are our research streams. Geomechanics and sustainability being the most important one, and then we have mining systems and learning and teaching. So this slide just gives you an idea of the number of students, around 650 students, 18 academic staff, 2 industry-sponsored chairs, So that speaks of itself of how big a school it is, and that's why I made the point that we are the largest school amongst English-speaking countries. So we do field trips, and again, I will mention about why I'm mentioning this on behalf of the school. We have also a thing called an international field trip, where around 10 students in years 3 and 4 goes to a different part of the world and look into mines, and I'll come back to that. Sorry, I think I pressed the wrong button. A few other things about the school. We have labs that most of the universities or most of the mining schools have: geomechanics, mineral processing, ventilation, and so on. But one of the things we do have is a virtual reality teaching space. It's a 360-degree 3D virtual space. And again, it's the first time in the world. The hardware was developed at UNSW. We developed it for the industry, and you can see it was funded partly by the federal government. And we use it for not just for training the industry, but also for learning and teaching. And again, we have sort of used the expertise and passed on the knowledge to our colleagues in other parts of the world. And I'll say the same thing. I'll talk about that when I come to SOMP. So let me come to the main thing Antonio asked me to talk about, Society of Mining Professors. And I'd like to just say, I have a past president of SOMP, Professor Mario Cedron, here sitting, so I may throw questions back to you, Mario, if I fall in trouble. So that's the website. Please do have a look. But what is SOMP? Okay? Now, it was established in 1990 by a special meeting that happened in Leoben University. It actually is a successor of one of the oldest societies, and my German is not good, just as my Spanish is. It's the Société de Bergkunde. That's what my German colleagues tell me. But that was actually founded in the 18th century. Now, the Germans up here, please, I do apologize for my German pronunciation. But apparently that's the first international society that was formed. So the SOMP actually is a successor of that. Since 2005, it has become very international, very, very international, I'll tell you that. And in 2009, for the first time in its history, it moved out of Europe. In the past, it had been very, very concentrated in Europe. All meetings had to be in Europe and things like that. 2009, as I said, my previous head of school, Professor Bruce Hebblewhite, who was the president in 2009 and is currently the Secretary General, decided to and convinced people that we need to move out of Europe and decided to come to Down Under in Sydney. And that was the first time we did, and then from now onwards, every alternate year, we move out of Europe. And actually in 2011, when Mario was the president, it was held in this particular place. I'm not sure exactly the venue because I couldn't make it, but it was, in here itself. Oh, great. So it was held in Arequipa in 2011. And it was in South Africa in 2014, and a few months ago, this year, it was in Freiburg in Germany. And I'll talk about future meetings and what else we do and things like that. So it is a really global academic community. There's people across the world representing their universities who come and who talk about a few things. Now, one of the changes that has also happened is initially, when I joined SOMP, we used to go and have meetings, and it was great. I'm not complaining about it. But what additional thing started happening was, in order to convince our university that we just don't go there and have fun, is we present our research. So it's like a conference, like PERUMIN, obviously not in this large scale, but something that we put an abstract up. The abstract gets reviewed by a group of people, and then it's accepted or declined, and if it's accepted, we have to put a paper up. So it's very much like a conference, and it is great. I mean, I personally learn a lot. It is committed to making a significant contribution to the minerals discipline, and there are geologists there are geoscientists, so there's a variety of people from the minerals community who are present in that society. The main objective of that is to guarantee that the scientific, the academic, and the professional knowledge required to take the industry to the next step is there. And I'll talk about the different committees that are there to help young professionals, and there's mentorship and all this, and I'll come back to that. It does facilitate exchange, and as I said, through presentation of research, through presentation of what we do in our universities, in our own countries, we have a lot of exchange. There's a lot of teaching partnerships happening and other collaborative activities, and I'll come back to that soon. Now, how can I become a member, or what are the different kinds of members? Obviously, number one is a normal member. So any person who is an academic staff in a university can apply, and it has to be approved by 1 or 2 current SOMP members, and you apply and you become a member of SOMP. But also we welcome people from the industry, so that, again, there is interaction. We just don't do our own work, and we don't lose track of what the industry is doing or where the industry is heading to. Those people who have an interest can become an associate member. Then there's junior members for people who are just stepping up into the academic world, academic community. There is emeritus members and even retired members who think that, oh, okay, I have retired, but I still have an interest. I want to know what's happening, and I want to put my share in, put my 2 cents in, and pass on my knowledge. They can become a retired member. Now, currently, there are over 200 members and representing from different continents, and it's great. So, apart from the usual people who are sitting at the top, so the Secretary General and the old people, the council members and all this, SOMP operates through 4 main committees: Education Committee, Research, Development and Industry Committee. There's a there's a Members Development Committee and a Capacity Building Committee. Now, I'm personally involved in the Education Committee, having, being involved at the university in the education sector and having interest in the innovative learning and teaching. What we do in that education, and one of the things that we as a group have been assigned to do, is look across the current SOMP universities, what they teach, when they teach, what are the content of it, and look for exchange opportunities. As I said, there are students who are currently from Peru in Sydney who have started the whole 4-year, part of the whole 4-year, but there are also students who are in an exchange program, who goes there for 6 months, does some courses, and comes back. We want to have a SOMP exchange program. The idea is, the thing that we want to look forward is have something on our website where if a student wants to go, let's say one of my students from University New South Wales in Australia wants to come to one of the universities in Peru, which semester he or she wants to come, what courses he or she wants to take, and what do the courses teach. And then we can sort of find a match and say, okay, great, you can do 1, 3, 5, and number 8 courses because they match with our courses. Because at the moment, it's very difficult, and I can say on behalf of UNSW Australia, students only go to some universities because we know what they teach, we have a relationship, but we want to broaden that student exchange program. And I think students benefit a lot. Research, development, and industry, the committee looks into how we can do collaboration. Again, we used to work in our own shell, in our own group. Now, there's a lot of expertise across the world in any area. And again, I'm in the geomechanics area. There's a lot of people in the geomechanics area across the world. But unfortunately, in the past, we used to work in our own group. We used to go out a bit and work within the country, but we generally didn't go forward. This Research, Development and Industry Committee looks for partnerships, and it has helped. One of my colleagues in New South Wales University is currently doing a research collaboration with one of the other colleagues at Virginia Tech, looking into remote sensing. And that started, and I still remember that, we had a meeting, was it in 2012 in Poland, Maria? Yeah, 2012. So in 2012, we had a meeting in Poland, and both of these colleagues were there, and they presented papers, and then they were like, oh, okay, would you like to work with me? And that's where it started. So they started working together, and they have started publications, and now they're also thinking of student exchange. So one of the PhDs from one of the postgraduate students, can they sort of come to Australia or go to the US and get a bit more information? So that's what that committee is looking for. The members' development is more for, again, as I remember I said at the start, looking for mentoring, for enhancing the skills for young people who are joining SOMP so that they have a future, so that after the expert people who are sitting at the age of retirement or on the, will be retiring in 5-10 years, once they retire, what's going to happen to the minerals industry? So this group is looking into how to put them together and how to push them to the next stage. The capacity building is again at the other committee, which looks into moving SOMP into regional areas. We had our first region, and one of the responsibilities or one of the things that they did was, I think 2 years ago, they had their first meeting in Thailand, and then last year they had a meeting in Hanoi. And I'll talk about the future meetings. Actually next week, they have a meeting, so I think it should be coming up now. They have a meeting in Windhoek. So, sorry, technology, okay, there you go. So, and I'll come back to the date. So, what do we do, and what about what lies ahead for SOMP in the future? There is it's informal, but there is a very good opportunity for international exchange, networking opportunity. There is numerous examples of collaboration, and I think I've already covered a few, and I'll cover some from the school's end. So student exchange, research opportunities, referencing. I know Mario. He's a good friend of mine now. I know people from South Africa. I know people by attending these meetings. And at the end of the day, and I know I get this personally, and I know a lot of my colleagues, there's some wonderful friendships we have. Every year we look forward to going to that particular place and meeting these people, and it's great. Also, we organize annual SOMP meetings, and I'll talk about that. There's regional SOMP meetings and also some conferences. And as I said, with each of these SOMP meetings, we have conferences to make it more academic interest, to make it more research-oriented. Now, before I go further into what are the other things, some of the benefits that the school, and even myself, I have gained from SOMP. Research collaboration, I think I've already talked about that. And currently, again, we are looking into other research collaborations. I'm sort of involved in longwall top coal caving, looking into subsidence. And there's been a work that has been done in other parts of the world. Why don't we collaborate? So there's currently talk going on. Student exchange, again, based on SOMP, we have UNSW Australia have exchange with Leoben. Every year we have 4, 5, even 10 students last year who decided to go to Austria, spend a semester. We signed a memorandum of understanding, or an MOU, with Virginia Tech in the US, all through SOMP. Okay, so it helps. Teaching opportunities. My colleague was traveling to South Africa, and I'll tell you why he was doing it. And he was told, oh, okay, if you are coming to South Africa, would you be happy to spend a few days in one of the universities, I think it was Namibia, and talk about your expertise? And it did happen. And Canada, and again, these are opportunities that landed through SOMP. International field trip. Remember the field trip photos I showed you? We, as a school, organize an international field trip, as I said, every 2 years. And this year, the students went to Africa, spent times in different mines of Africa. And again, due to that collaboration, there was, around that same time, Ronnie Webber-Young, who was the past president 2 years ago, 2014, he was organizing a conference. And he said, oh, okay, if you're coming to Africa, come during this time, and I'll give the students free access to the conference. They can listen. So this is great. Just imagine students going from Australia, far away, to South Africa, doing mine visits and also attending a conference. And that's because of the friendship we have gained. Conference Organizing Committee. I'm a co-chair of a future mining conference that's happening in November. We have committee members there from SOMP, because we know that we have people who will work for us, and we have colleagues who are working as part of the organizing committee. and make good friends. And as I said, that's definitely helpful. I remember, on a personal note, I was going for my promotion, and as part of the promotion at the university, I needed to have reference. I just called up a couple of my friends from SOMP, and I said, would you be happy to be my referees? And they did, and I got promoted too. So it is great, you know, I mean, these friendships do help. So I'll just try to finish up with some of the upcoming events. And as I said, next week, there's the 3rd regional SOMP meeting is happening in Windhoek in Namibia. And some of my colleagues are already on their way. But definitely, I put this up in red because this is something that I think I'll throw it up to you all. Professor Oscar Restrepo from the National University of Colombia, he's chairing the 4th regional SOMP meeting in Medellin, Colombia. It is a great opportunity. You know, since yesterday, I've been hearing the minister and all the different people presenting and talking about education. There is different people from SOMP who come and attend these regional SOMP meetings. And I would appreciate if you also join in these meetings and learn, and I'm sure there'll be opportunities. This morning, I was doing a presentation, and Tim from the University of Alberta, he was there, and he said, oh, okay, yeah, there is opportunities for collaboration. Why don't we do it through SOMP? So it's a great platform. So please join it, please be a part of it, and I'm sure you won't regret. You won't say, oh, Rudra said these things, we should have listened to him. So, you know, it's a great thing. Again, there's one planned in Asia in late July, early August, I think in 2016, and things are talking about Bangkok. The big conference of SOMP next year will be held in Washington, D.C. Vladislav Kaczorowicz from West Virginia, he's the current president, and he's organizing this, and it's around the same time, I think, when Mine Expo is, so that's why he tried to do it at that time. And we already also planned for future events. As you can see, from 2017, 18, and 19, the venues for the conferences have been planned. So it's in Italy, and then the first time again, we are moving to China. And this is, I think this is the first time in the history of SOMP that we are moving out of and to an Asian country, because we had a member from Asia, and we want to involve people, and by putting it in China, it's a great opportunity. And then back in 2019, we'll be back in Europe. So I'd like to finish off again by saying this is the Future Mining Conference. We are having it, and the opportunity there is to bring people from different expertise into this, into mining, and see how we can take what they have done, what have excelled. So, and in the past, this is the 3rd one. In the past, we had people from BMW and Mercedes who have obviously nothing related to mining, but they have a lot of technology that they have done, and we want to hear what they have done. And then we have industry people from mining, and we will try to say, okay, can we take those technologies and implement it in mining? There are challenges, but how can we change them, or how can we implement them? I think with that, I would like to finish off. So gracias. Thank you again, and I don't think there's any opportunities for questions, so I'll be hanging around. If there's questions, I'll be happy to take that later. Thank you.